Welcome back to the news today. This is the Daily Debate. Although in the last week, Israeli media has been busy reporting about scandals in the Netanyahu household, the polls show that the right wing and the Likud are only getting stronger, and the center-left and left-wing are losing power. And if the right-wing monumentum continues, Prime Minister Netanyahu will win his third consecutive term. Can the left still change the tide? With me is Uri Misgav, journalist and political blogger. Good evening. Thank you very much for coming.
Good evening.
And also Tal Schneider, blogger for Israeli political blog, The Plug. Good evening.
Hi.
Thank you very much for coming. Okay, let's start. Did they fall asleep?
Well, it seems like the Netanyahu administration or the Netanyahu government is taking on the entire scene, controlling the news cycle with almost every topic on the agenda. I have to say, it's none of the things are substance. I mean, they don't talk economy, they don't talk social welfare, they don't talk about issues of healthcare. They just talk. You know, they went on an attack, severe attack, and apparently the Israeli public loves them when they're on their attack. So we see, you know, it's a bit of a rise in the polls, but you have to say the polls might be inaccurate. Plus, we saw a decline of the Jewish Home, of Bennett's party. So, you know, I'm not sure if Labour is really losing power. Until now, Labour played the game of, you know, let Netanyahu decline and we'll just keep it quiet. And they didn't lose much of the power. They seem like disorganized a bit.
Disorganized, or let's say really?
No.
Said it.
Let's talk in sports term for a while. They were playing not to lose, but in the current situation, as my dear colleague just described, a tie is not enough. You have to play to win. You have to go on the field and achieve, like they say in the football, another inch, another mandate, something. And they are not creating the atmosphere. They're not. There's no electricity in the air.
So what?
They're
they started believing
that
what the people are saying about Isaac Herzog has no charisma. Tzipi Livni is going from right to left to left to right.
He took Livni on his side. I mean, he, you know, on every,
she is the charisma part of it.
I mean, on every billboard, he's the guy actually at the beginning, and you have to give it for him, to give you credit for him. He realized he has no charisma, and he decided to put her on his side on every billboard you're watching or every TV ad or whatever.
This is also pathetic. This is also pathetic.
Well, it might be worse with him alone.
For me, there's a strong sense of over-caution here. He's cautious. They're trying, you know, not to attack Netanyahu too much in order not to intimidate his supporters and make his base come back. But on the other hand, they're not creating any agenda, as Tal just said. You know, they were trying this week. Let's play fair.
Just
they were trying to launch their social-economical plan. We can, you know, laugh about it a little bit because it was advertised more like a bank than a political plan. But they still have a plan. No, we have to say that Netanyahu and his Likud party, the governing party in Israel for decades, are not coming with an agenda. They're not coming with a program. Whether the Israeli public is aware of that is yet to be seen.
Yeah, so the Likud ran on 2015 without a written party platform.
For the first time
it's first time in history. It's unbelievable that people voted, and when they were asked about it, of course they ran without interviews as well, or without, you know, too much of a public debate. When they were asked about it up front, they said, our written party platform is what we just did for the last 4 years, and this is it. So now, I mean, can they repeat the same answer? The last 2 years, this is our party platform. It's a bit problematic. But you don't see the Israeli public interested in that. And I have to say another thing. The Likud party is, you know, is whining or crying about personal issues and about,
attacking.
But when they don't put a plan, I mean, they can repeat their cry and their argument many times, but when they don't put a plan and we don't have issues to discuss with them, it's just about, you know, I mean, on the Prime Minister say, go out and look at my Facebook page, and this is where you see the news. And when you go to his Facebook page, you see his wife handing gifts to soldiers, and then he is complaining about the personal attack on her.
Explain me this. Yes, because it seems that the Prime Minister is putting his wife in the front row, but not only putting her
complaining and
but not only putting her in the front row when he knows that she's being attacked, that she's under attack. It's like she is his shield. You know what? Attack her. The more that you will attack her, I will win.
This is what Yair
If I was his wife, I would be really, really angry.
Yair Lapid, the Yesh Atid, the head of the Yesh Atid party, has just said an hour ago. He said, "Stop using your wife as a front shield. Go to the front and confront us." But you have to understand, Netanyahu, the eternal Prime Minister of Israel, still feels safe at the underdog position.
But maybe it's also our let's say, our fault, because when we are saying, okay, of course, okay, it seems that Netanyahu will win. Netanyahu is the ultimate prime minister. Netanyahu will win again the elections.
We had a month of saying that the public is upset with him and doesn't want him again, and you see all the polls, the personal polls of the job performance are not so good. So it's not like everybody is saying, I mean, there is a strong anti-Netanyahu sentiment on the street. But whenever his wife gets attacked, and you have to say she's not getting attacked by the left, she's getting attacked by reports, based reports, not just, it's not just gossip, it's things that are published in the paper based on documents. And when this is, controlling the news cycle and there is no substance and no issues, then it helps him in...
when your wife okay, when your wife is not behaving in a good way, when your wife is a little bit problematic, when your wife is doing you some troubles, it's not your fault that you have this wife.
Okay, let me tell you a story from the last campaign. It was published already. His wife, Sarah Netanyahu, the First Lady, has actually forced the Likud party to put a short clip of her goodwill, of her good good contribution and deeds. Everybody at the Likud campaign said it's a bad idea. She still forced the Prime Minister of Israel to put that, and they were going with that clip for a few days. It's not that he's using her as... I don't care actually what's happening there, but at the bottom line, she's at the front all the time, a kind of in-your-face attitude, and she's not well hidden. But let's talk about the left again for a moment. This is a dilemma. As Tal said, the left politicians are very cautious with attacking her and even attacking him personally. But on the other hand, they find it very hard to put some agenda of essence on the table. They are reacting all the time. I don't think we saw them...
Not only reacting, today in the morning in another show, Nechama Duek, one of the reporters, told me it's amazing to see the behavior of the left and the behavior of the right. When the right is attacked, when the prime minister is attacked, when the leader is attacked, all his parties combining together to be the shield of the prime minister. But when it happens in the left, it seems that the left is just finding a way to just start pointing fingers and blaming.
Let me ask you this. Who is leaking to the press the stories about the behavior of the Prime Minister's wife? Let's think about it. Do you think it's the left who is out of control and out of government who is leaking them?
No, I actually think that it's coming from from the Likud.
Yes, I agree with you. Hence, I think on the right wing, you see a lot of dissatisfaction from the fact that Prime Minister is there for such a long time, and other leaders around him, which are, they aspire to the top. They cannot rise to the top with that. And I have, it's my gut feeling. It's not totally based. But if they're going to keep seeing that he's so strong, we're going to see, maybe we're going to see more leaks.
But yet no one will go
out. Another thing on the table. There are no quality politicians anymore at the Likud party.
Neither in the left.
All the successors and the princes have long gone. No. Netanyahu is surrounded by a shield of people who say yes, who really need him to stay in power.
No, I disagree with that. I disagree. Likud is not just, it's not supposed to be, and it's not just a party of one person. It's been like that for the last couple of years, but you do have some talented people there that are, dissatisfied, and probably they are the one who are helping the press, and they're playing a hypocrite game right now, but...
because they're afraid. They are afraid.
There is a reason you hear so many stories in the press right now. It's not coming out of nowhere. I mean, I'm talking from my experience. The best leaks are coming from the surroundings. And it's not just there. It's not just there right now.
But there's another factor here. It's like a wall of silence. Whenever excuse me for the comparison, but also we see that a lot with sex offenders. When there's one complaint, other people or other women get the courage to tell the story. I can tell from my experience in the last week, I get so much information that people were hesitating to give before, and it's not coming from politicians. It's coming from civilians, from people who were in touch. Yeah, bottom up.
We're in touch with the...
We're in touch with the royal family, so to speak. And now they see that they're not alone, that many others have suffered from their behavior, from the corruption, and I think this will go on and on.
And we're talking about what, civilians, that people who are working with them, people who are advising them. Because I also hear some people who are really, really close to his ear complaining, and not so close to his ear anymore, are saying that they cannot even tell him a word.
It's coming. When you say bottom up, it doesn't mean also, only from from security people or air hostess. It's also from people who are in senior positions, but not necessarily politicians. But he's a prime minister. He's in touch.
Let's call them former civil servants.
Yeah.
In a general term.
But it's true that they're not coming from the left.
You do see, I mean, it's obvious. There's a lot of problems there, and I have to say, for the Likud and for the other ruling parties, Israel Beitenu and other parties that have been in government for so many years, you see a lot of corruption coming out those days, and it's really time to go.
So just explain to me, how come there is no coup in the Likud? How come no one is coming and saying, you know what, no more? Let's say, no more years for you. We don't want to be the face of the Likud. You lost all the...
Kachlon, you saw Saar, Gidon Saar, two top politicians left the Likud in the just last 2 years, not on good terms. And
they didn't actually say, they didn't actually come and say, you know what? He is really the source of all trouble.
It's very hard to confront a serving prime minister and to challenge him. You usually wait for him to step back and then do your...
Yes, and they do have their own aspirations, and they said that in their own... I mean, Kachlon is not really coming out forcefully right now in a negative campaign. Depends on what happened when we get close to the end. I think last 2 weeks are going to be very, very interesting. Plus, I'm not one of those people who say, like you said before, that the Prime Minister is sailing on its way to the next third consecutive term. I think that when we come to the closing part of the scene, I'm not sure Kachlon is going to be so much into getting. I mean, for what did he do the entire round of getting out, and it's 4 years of preparation and help and getting himself together, just to come back as communication minister for the prime minister again. I mean, doesn't make any sense. And Kachlon is a logical person. Again, the same with Yair
Kachlon
Lapid.
Is actually sitting down with the left.
Yeah. Yes. Well, obviously. And Yair Lapid the same. I mean, the way that Yair Lapid is on the attack against the prime minister through this campaign indicate that he's not willing to sit with the same prime minister in the next government. And if you start to add the numbers, I'm not sure. I mean, it depends on what the Labour will perform, and depends really on the last 2 weeks of the campaign. But if you think that Lapid and Shas will be able to patch and get, make peace with them, something that I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. But if, then you might see the numbers, coming together differently from what you just said.
So you think that really we will have, we will wake up with, we will go to sleep with one prime minister and we will wake up with another?
I don't see a huge trend and a huge momentum around Netanyahu. Really, I don't see that. I just see a little bit of, enforcement right now, but, we still have to wait.
It's a close tie, but what I believe, my wildest guess, is still on the table. I can't see him winning again. There's too many parties and politicians and civilians waiting for him in the corner, and I think I don't see where he can generate a momentum from. And so it's a close tie now. It's not enough for a new government, but In Israel, we keep forgetting that.
Where is the momentum?
Listen, this is a country with no memory, with no public memory or patience.
Really short memory.
So the elections here really are being decided on the last 2 weeks. We have to still sit in this table and analyze everything, but I want to meet you in 2 weeks' time. It'll be much more interesting.
You know, it will be more interesting, but from what I'm seeing, it seems that we are speaking with people on the street. People are still not sure to who they're going.
30% are undecided still.
Yeah,
so they will make their own
decision.
Chunk. Yes, it's a huge chunk. A lot of them are women, and women are, globally inclined to vote left or center. So I think it's far from being a done deal. And I think, anyhow, the Prime Minister and his wife, of course, will come out of this campaign wounded and seriously damaged, and their reputation and public image. I mean, it's not going to be the same.
I will show you this recording just in 2 weeks. Around 2 weeks.
Let's meet again.
Yes.
Let's set a date.
We're setting a date, of course.
You have to be more courageous and optimistic. Nothing is decided yet.
I'm being cautious. Cautious is the word.
It's going to get interesting.
Yeah, it's going to get interesting, definitely. Thank you very, very much for being with me. 2 minutes, and we will be back.